do is say, okay, like where are we from a team standpoint? Where are we from a roster standpoint? And we looked at it and we said, hey, we're coming out of 2025. We have the 8th youngest defense in terms of experience, a group that's very complete at all 3 levels and that we feel really good about. On the offensive side of the ball, we looked and we felt like we had a number of young, pillar cornerstone pieces, but we envision a world where that side of the ball is going to have pretty significant turnover over the next several months. And then from a resource standpoint, we looked at the team and said we're flush with, draft resources entering this offseason, as well as the appropriate amount of flexibility from a financial perspective. So as we looked at everything and we thought about what we needed from, our head coach, particularly in this phase, the first thing we actually looked at is we wanted someone who could lead, develop, and grow a young team. Because quite frankly, we're probably going to be, if not the youngest, one of the youngest teams in football in 2026. The second thing that we wanted, certainly in the short term, was a coach, didn't matter the background, that had a very strong and adaptable offensive plan, given the amount of turnover we're going to have on that side of the ball, both in terms of personnel, scheme, you name it. In addition to that very specific problem, we were looking at individuals that had 4 key attributes. The first is something that we categorize as global intelligence. So that's not just cognitive ability or IQ, that's EQ and football acumen as well. The second is something that we term CEO leadership. So that's someone who has the ability to function at what we would call 30,000 feet, as well as the tactical level at ground level. The third, we wanted someone who had a demonstrated track record of innovation where they've been. And then the fourth, we wanted someone who had the characteristics of collaboration, given the head coaching position touches so many different areas in football operations in the modern day game. So what we did to assess, all of those characteristics with many of the fine coaches we met with, we looked at their performance track record, where they've been throughout all their career, how their units have done. We did a number of reference calls throughout people who had been in direct working relationship with the candidates throughout all stops of their career. We did testing, we did work samples, and we also did the interview. And we combined all of that information to make a good decision about who would serve us best, who would serve the organization best with the problem that we're trying to attack with where our team is currently. And when we did that, Todd stood head and shoulders above the rest. Todd's really, really, really unique. If you look at his history, his career history, this is a coach who has had high-level, innovative, adaptable offenses at both the pro and college level. Doesn't matter the personnel, didn't matter the quarterbacks, didn't matter what he inherited. He always found a way to have, high-level and productive units. It became very apparent in everybody that we talked to about Todd how strong he was working and developing with young players. I think that's one of the beauties of Todd's experience is he does have pro and college experience as a coach, and that transfers in terms of how he leads and grows young players. The third, the mentors that he's worked for, most recently Kirby Smart and John Harbaugh, arguably the best in the business in pro and college, and the lessons that Todd has learned and applied from those coaches has been outstanding. And then the last thing is he understands the job. I mean, the work that he did at Southern Miss, inheriting a program at its historical nadir, turning it around with few resources, shows he has the leadership, the gumption, and the resourcefulness to do this job at any level. So for us, we felt like he fit us like a glove. And we are so excited to have him and his family in Cleveland. I guess I should say back to Cleveland, Todd. But we're really stoked to have him. And so without further ado, Todd Monken.
Wow. Man, am I excited to lead this flagship, franchise, NFL franchise. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Really has been a long journey. And there's a lot of people as we get down the road here that I'm going to have to thank, but I'm jacked. I mean, I'm excited to be with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, it really, it's hard to even put into words. First off, I want to thank Dee and Jimmy, Whitney and JW for entrusting me in this opportunity to help build a winning team, with the NFL's most passionate and dedicated fan base, including the Dog Pound. Secondly, I want to thank Andrew. Pointed that way, but you're right there. I want to thank Andrew Berry. Crazy enough, in 2019, when I interviewed here, my contact was Andrew, and actually was the first gentleman that I met with when I came in the building. And I could tell right away that our alignment and his clear vision for how you build a roster and how you develop players, we were aligned. And I look forward to being connected at the hip and building this roster to a championship level, consistent championship level. He mentioned the last few years, getting an opportunity to work with Kirby Smart and John Harbaugh, two of the elites in the game. When you talk about getting a doctorate in coaching, wow. I owe a lot to them. They entrusted me to elevate the offenses at both places, which is a credit to the staff we had and the players we had, because you can't do it alone. You absolutely cannot do this alone. It takes an army, and I owe a lot of gratitude to them. The one thing I learned being with both of them, I always thought I understood what it meant to confront anything that gets in the way of winning football. And what's interesting is they get to the same point. They just do it completely differently. But it's an art. Because ultimately, just like I would have with my son, just like our children, you're going to confront anything that gets in the way of helping them become the best version of them. And that's your job with something that you love. And that's something I've never taken for granted with any job I've ever had, is fighting to confront anything that gets in the way of winning football. And I owe a lot to Coach Harbaugh. He hired me out of Georgia, took a shot on a college coordinator, trying to elevate Lamar in the offense. And I learned a ton. He is elite at messaging with a team, especially with an NFL team, and how you deal with players, and how you confront anything that gets in the way of winning without being confrontational. To me, that's an art. That's an art. Thank you, Coach. And then the last thing, shit. Told myself I wasn't going to cry, for God's sakes. I want to thank my mom and dad, no longer with us, my brothers, Tony and Ted. College roommates, drove up here to be here today. My father-in-law, Chuck. My son, Travis, proud of the man you've become, and his fiancée, Hannah. And my wife, Terry, been together 40 years, been married 34. Of course, she would say that's probably 6, because you're actually married to the game. So, but it's been an unbelievable journey. Thank you. I love you. Before I take any questions, I just want to. There's something that I've kind of always lived by, as a position coach, as a coordinator, and I will as a head coach. And Jim and Dee and Jimmy, they cut a check with my name on it. And you know what they expect? A freaking kick-ass football team. That's what they expect. And you know what they want? They want to become a winning franchise that our fan base in our region is proud of. And that's all they've been about, is how you build a winning franchise that consistently competes for championships. And you know what? My job is to prove it every single day, and I appreciate that. Thank you. And with that, let's go with some questions.
For questions, why don't we raise our hands and introduce yourself, even though you may already know Todd. Reintroduce yourself to him. Mary Kay?
Hi, Todd. Welcome back. Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com, Cleveland Plain Dealer. Well, I guess I'll start right off the bat with the question probably everybody wants to know. Will you head into this offseason with Shedeur Sanders as your QB1? And if not, what is your approach to the whole quarterback situation as you move into your new job?
Well, I think like any position on the team, that's still to be determined. Am I excited about Shedeur? Am I excited about all the quarterbacks in the room? Am I excited to coach this football team? Absolutely. I can't wait for them to get back and for us to get started.
Joe Reedy, Associated Press. Todd, you mentioned in a Harbaugh Coaching Academy video your 2019 stint here. There was a lot of drama that the coaching staff couldn't control. Now that you're the head coach and learning from Kirby and Harbaugh, how do you manage that so that there isn't that drama?
Well, first off, I learned a lot in that 2019 season. I think you learn a lot. In fact, you learn a heck of a lot more when things aren't going well than when it is going well. And I learned a lot of things that I would have done different, and I think collectively would have done different. And I've seen it from a different angle, different point of view. But I'm ready to move forward with this team, the 2026 team.
Chris?
Hey, Todd, Chris Easterling, Akron Beacon Journal. Just want to ask you, as a former quarterback, what is it you're specifically looking for in a quarterback? What is that trait? What are the traits that you feel like are critical for a successful quarterback, regardless of level?
Well, I'm just going to start with personality traits. I mean, when you talk about who's going to lead this team, who has the it factor, who has those characteristics that the team wants to follow and believes in them because the ball's in their hand every down. This game's going to come down to 2-minute situations, 4-minute situations where you've got to be able to execute at a high level. And we're just talking about some of the characteristics that you're looking for, let alone some of the physical traits that we'll get a chance to talk about later.
Let's go Scott, Dan, and then Jimmy.
Hey Todd, Scott Petrick from the Chronicle Telegram. You said it was a long time coming. When did you first start to think about being an NFL head coach? And did you feel you'd come close before? And then what does it feel like finally now?
Well, first off, I played at Knox College, and my dad were high school coaches, and my uncles were high school coaches, so that was just a dream. But I've been part of a team since I've been 5 years old, the Purple Pounders of Wheaton, Illinois, and it's the coolest thing ever to be part of a team. Let's just put it that way, okay? All I ever wanted to do was be part of a team and coach football. That's all. I mean, other than my mom making an Evel Knievel outfit or an astronaut, I was a football player every Halloween. That's all I ever dressed up as. You name it, that's what I dressed up as. When I was a kid, everybody else was getting trains. They were getting Army men. I was getting football games. My dad, every single the little vibrating football game or talking football or rubber band football, every single game I ever got was about football. So all I ever want to do is coach and be part of a team. To me, it's not until you get into the NFL that you ever process like the opportunity could potentially be there to be a head coach in the NFL. Obviously, you have to probably reach the coordinator level to where that becomes a possibility. And there have been times before where I've been close. And I believe God put you at the right place at the right time. And that is now.
Dan?
Dan Lobby, Cleveland.com. This kind of goes with Scott's question. Obviously, you've been saying it's a long time coming. Did you at any point think something like this wouldn't happen for you? And does that make this opportunity more meaningful for you?
For sure. I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I mean, let's be real honest here. Although I'll say this, that the version you're getting of me now is a hell of a lot better than it would have been 15, 20 years ago. So I'll at least say that. Okay, but you get to the point where this is God's plan, which is fine. To be an offensive coordinator in the NFL or even coach in the NFL, I don't think people really realize there's 32 NFL teams. There's approximately 68, I don't even know how many more there are, Power 4 jobs. So whatever job we have, be it in the NFL or a Power 4 school, there's only 100 of you in the whole world. That's all there is. Within a 30-mile radius, there might be 100 doctors, 100 attorneys. You talk about a small group, talking about an elite group of men. So Sure, there's a time where you think that's not going to happen. But very appreciative for the jobs that I've had and the players that I've been around and the coaches that have helped me get to where I'm at, because you absolutely cannot do it alone.
Let's go Jimmy, then we're going to go Ashley, then we're going to go Terry.
Jimmy Watkins, Cleveland.com. Todd, you're known as a straight shooter. That's what they say about you. How do you set that culture of accountability in a way that doesn't turn players off, so to speak?
Great question. Like I said before, I think you have to hold the players accountable for what they say their dreams and aspirations are. And you have to find out what really do you want individually with your career, and then what do you want collectively as a team. And all you're doing is holding them to what their goals and aspirations are, like people did for me. I am who I am because my parents did that for me. They didn't do that to me. They did that for me. And that's the way I go about it, is I think everybody likes honesty till they don't like what's said to them honestly. And I'm the same way. I'm no different. I like being stroked in a good way. I'm no different. I don't like the other side of it. But that's how I've gotten a lot better. And the people that love you the most, they're going to be honest with you. But all it is finding out what are your dreams and aspirations, and then let's fight like hell to achieve them.
Ashley Bastock, Cleveland.com. Just wondering, being in the division, like what your impression as a coordinator was of this defense, and if you've had a chance to talk to Jim or anything yet.
Give me that again, the last part.
If you've had a chance to talk to Jim Schwartz. Or
I have. Okay, so with that, I've had a chance to talk with Jim. But it's been a bitch, I apologize, to go against this defense 6 times over the last 3 years. Schematically, and more importantly, the players. Because ultimately, it's a player's game. That's what it is. It's our job as coaches to develop systems that allow your players to play fast. People talk about time speed. It's really not about time speed. It's about how they play on the field. And that's developing schemes, in my opinion, or systems, as Coach Harbaugh used to call it, with elegant simplicity, where they can function at a high level and play fast. And that's what you saw all the time with the guys that are here and the players that we have. But at the end of the day, I say this all the time, from an offense or defensive perspective, it starts with having elite players and then having an elite coaching staff with you. And then you can call the game freely because of that, because of the talent you have, and then because of the players, with the coaches that help it come to life. That's what makes a coordinator elite. It's not one individual person. And when we get ready for the Browns, when we used to get ready for the Browns, it'll be more fun and not have to worry about chipping 95 every down and distance, I can tell you that.
Terry, then Tony, then Mary Kay.
Terry Pluto, Plain Dealer, Cleveland.com. 2 things. What you mentioned about the defense there. I'm just curious, where do you stand with Schwartz? Is he coming back, or what do you know so far?
Well, first of all, I think Jim is an outstanding defensive coordinator. I think we all would agree with that. But I think it's a little inappropriate for me to comment about that at this time.
And secondly, when you looked at the Browns from the outside, you just mentioned the defense, but just in general, you've been through some situations where it's been big turnarounds. I know Southern Miss, I think you were 0-12 or whatever the first year, and that. What does it take to get, especially in the NFL, to get a turnaround situation going?
Perseverance, because it's hard. Winning's hard. It is hard, but the reward is unbelievable. That's what was fun about the thoughts of being the head coach here. If you like a challenge, let's go. Let's get this to where we're the standard, and the time is now. The timing is now. It's hard. It's perseverance, mental toughness, surrounding yourself with the right people, staffing, and then player-wise, that want to run into that smoke. Because not everybody wants to run that smoke. Not everybody wants to look at it like it's 4th and 1 every day. And it is. It's 4th and 1 every day.
Nate, then Mary Kay.
Hey, Todd. Nate Aldrich, Akron Beacon Journal. Clearly, this means so much to you. So when you were at Georgia, you win the national championship back-to-back. You come back in the NFL. Did you come back to the league with the goal to become a head coach? Was that in your thinking?
100%. I called around to coaches in the NFL. I wanted to hear what it was like to be a head coach in the NFL. Because I tried to get a hold of Cliff Kingsbury and I couldn't. He was in like Tahiti or something. So that one, thank God I didn't get him because I might not have left Georgia. I got a hold of 3 or 4 other coaches, Kevin being one of them. And I asked him, do you enjoy being a head coach in the NFL? Do you enjoy everything that comes with it? It's not easy. It isn't. And to a man, all of them said they loved it, be it Matt LaFleur, be it Kevin Stefanski, and others that I reached out to, because it was the only reason for me to leave Georgia. Well, why else would I leave Georgia? We're winning, going to have good players, the culture's already set. So that was one part of it. The other part was the challenge of where we could take the team out east offense and how we could elevate